Shalom, 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 Rastafari. And to finish up where we left off, and they came to the brook Eshkol, the brook Nahal. It reminded I and I the Nile River Valley, where they say civilization began. The Nahal, the Nahal. And going to that word, it's a noun, masculine, Nahala. Psalm 124:4, we was saying that in the last vid. Ezekiel 47:19, on the south side, it will run from Tamar to the waters of Meribat, Kadesh, the river to the great sea. This is the south side. This is the south side. Interesting. Next to the border of Gad, at the south side. The border will run from Tamar to the waters of Meribat, Kadesh to the stream of Egypt, or the land of bondage, and on to the great sea. That's interesting. In this word Nile, Nahal, a stream or brook, a winter torrent. Now, of Eshkol, the name of an Amorite, or the merchant. So we see that spirit from the 7 Canaanite nations, the Amorite. So dealing with that and that spirit, and they came to the brook of Eshkol. So business and all those things can be done. Business and having business and, land and rights and what the people need, that can be done. And it says, and they cut down karat. And we looking at that. That's interesting how it looked in relation to the word karate. Karate, to cut, to destroy or consume. So in the belief, in those that are main, if they are main, and that's interesting because this video, this is the highlight, if you want, or the point of these series of these videos. This word right here, karat. This was one of the words that I was, really kind of studying. Karat, to cut, to destroy or consume. Now, when the children did all main in their heart in the book of Joshua, in the 2nd chapter, when they got to the end, they said that the people of the land, right, when they went to come and take their own land back, when they to come and to go to their own land that the Almighty had given their tribe, their people, all the tribes, all the nations had got their land. So or were given or were given to go and take their land. The 12 tribes of Israel, speaking of the children of HaElohim, those who are the true faith of Abraham, that seed, that true seed. So when they were going to take the land, that the children in Joshua chapter 2, at the end of the chapter, even they said that the hearts of the enemy had melted away. They said that, the people said that the people of the land, their hearts melted away when they heard what the God, the HaElohim, the Yahweh of Israel had did to the Red Sea, how he dried up the Red Sea, and the people did walk through on dry land. So, and this is what the people, or the people of the land, when the 2 spies went to search out, because when Yehoshua sent them, because there had to be a second time to go, because the people failed the first time. They murmured against Moses and Aharon. They murmured against Yahweh and basically wanted to stone them and kill them. They were upset with them. Even though they brought the revelation of Jah Rastafari, they brought the revelation of Christ to the children so that they would know who they were, so that they would be sovereign and that they would be able to come out. They are liberated now through the name of Jah Rastafari. Even in the Babylonian court systems, even in dealing with the merchants or dealing with business. And this was the importance of business. This is how business will become a whole, because those who were walking in the name of Jah, doing business in the name of Jah, all of that would come back now to the children of the people now, and they wouldn't be in poverty, and everybody would be able to have. So it's not like that some people, only some would have, and they had to look over their shoulder because of the way they're getting it. But then that everybody would have, they would be able to bless and educate the children, and everybody would be able to do their own works and bring about their own and put it together that way. So This word karat, to destroy or consume. So in the faith, in faithfulness, they cut and destroy and consume the enemy. In unfaithfulness, they're cut and destroy themselves. And it says, and they cut down from thence a branch, Zamora, and it kind of, again, on the other side, it reminds I of the word mizmor, but this word is Zamora. Thence a branch. Remember that Josh said he left a branch. He left, then that was called the branch that was called after the staff, a Rastafari, that staff, the agency, the organization under the HAILE. You know what I mean? Because there's so many of his peoples throughout the earth that they make this one Ethiopia, this united Ahad, with one Ahad, united. See, there was the next word. With one united Ahad, the first. And then the cluster is this is a bunch of grapes or other fruit. Now it's interesting. I said some the other fruit, a bunch of grapes or other fruit, the seed of Abraham. But this is the courage, the fruit, the spirit of the people. This is the courage. Though in the Nile of the Nile River Valley, or what is the promised land, what is given to Israel, our own land, in the Nile of it, they become karat. They become cut. They cut themselves. They destroy themselves. You see what I'm saying? This spirit, and they cut their spirit. In this cluster, a bunch of grapes. A bunch of grapes. Is this the one where it says Eshek? Now, from the word Eshkol, is the word Eshek, which is a testicle as a lump. Look at that. Their courage. They castrate themselves from their own inheritance. Because not believing, I and I would castrate ourselves, or the people would castrate themselves from their own inheritance by not remaining, by not having that faith that Abraham had. So that cluster is that spirit, it's the courage, it's that faith, that Eshkol. That's why they named it that when they scouted the land, and they brought back the spirit of the land. If it was good or if it was bad. And this is what they said, look, we're going to bring this back for a testimony. And they called it Eshkol, a bunch of grapes, the spirit, of grapes, the I in the Ab, the Inab, the I in the Ab, in the Father, the I in the Father, the Inab, the Anab, the grape, a grape. And they bear Nasa, they lifted up it between two Shanaim, the Messiahs, Jesus Christ, and QEDAMAWI, Haile Selassie, the conquering line of the tribe of Judah Christ, on a staff, a pole. So this pole was meant to stand, the staff. Now the word mot, this is motet, or the pole, the staff on which it stands, because Yahweh, the word coming from Jah, he made it to stand. But now motet, come back. Now the word mot is also linked with the word death. With death, also mut. Most of the time when you hear it in the Torah, that word mot is death. But this is just speaking of a pole that holds what? Even if you will, a beacon on a staff, a flag, the Lion of Judah flag, the representation. So it's really meant to stand, motet, in that sense, motet. Looking at the word, Jah really meant for it to stand. Though the decision is that one can waver or fall. It can be wavering or fall. So, and they bought of the pomegranates, Ramon, and of the figs, the Taina, and Harik, Taina is still good, good, Taina. And so the place was called the Brook of Eshkol. So it was called the Nahal, the Nile, Eshkol, the spirit. Eshkol. Well, Eshkol being the name of the Amorite at the time. The Amorite. And I think we had read up there earlier in one of the earlier vids where the word Canaanite up there in that sense had meant humiliated. And we had thought of one settling on other people's lands that didn't belong to them, you know. And this whole idea of doing that is a humiliation, and it becomes a humiliation to them. So the instruction that's given to Jah people, you know, once they follow the instruction, then, you know, the orders of that Yahweh will carry out, you know. So the place was called the Brook of Eshcol, Odot turnings, on account of, so they made an account on Odot, on Ot, almost a sign. This was the sign, this was an account of Odot, Ot, and notice the word Ot, the cluster of grapes, the spirit, the fruit of the land, that it was great, it was good, which the children, the Bane, the Banim, the builders, the Banim, the Bane, the Banim of Israel, Karat, destroyed, to consume. They cut down from there. Yes, and you know, we thought that was, you know, with that word karata, you know, being that it was the main word or topic for this vid, you know, and these three or four series really of these videos, you know. I was thinking I would have to, you know, they keep it, we have to seven them. We have to really seven them with it, but no, there was more. There's much more, you know, than just that. But we give thanks and shalom, Rastafari.